When white smoke rose above the Sistine Chapel, the world paused. A moment steeped in ancient tradition. A ritual unchanged for centuries. But this time was different. Because in an age ruled by tweets, hashtags, and viral videos, the election of a new pope wasn't just a religious event. It was a digital explosion. The moment that smoke turned white, Twitter, no, X, lit up like a Christmas tree. White smoke! Who's the new pope? Don't play with me, I need to know who's in that room. Vatican livestream is my new Super Bowl. Hashtags like hashtag new pope, hashtag white smoke, and hashtag conclave 2025 trended globally within 5 minutes. Even people who hadn't been to church in years were refreshing their feeds. Even atheists were watching the balcony. Because it wasn't just about the Pope. It was about who the world was about to follow. The words echoed across St. Peter's Square, and instantly, across TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, and Instagram. Habemus Papam. We have a Pope. And then, Robert Francis Prevost. Who? Wait, an American? Did the Vatican just elect a Pope from Chicago? You could hear the record scratch across the internet. For the first time in history, a Pope from the United States. A Pope fluent in both Latin and the language of the people. TikTok creators wasted no time. Within an hour, over 300 Pope Leo XIV reaction videos were trending. One creator stood in front of the TV crying. I don't know why I'm crying, but I feel like something shifted. Another zoomed in on the new Pope's smile. This man looks like your grandpa who makes you pancakes and ends wars. One user stitched in. Pope Leo XIV has the energy of someone who'd say, let's talk about your anxiety. God isn't mad at you. And that's when the tone shifted. From surprise. To curiosity. To something else. Hope. It didn't take long before the internet did what the internet does best. Memes. Everywhere. When the new pope is American and accidentally says y'all in Latin. Picture of Leo XIV holding a coffee. The Holy Roast. Pope Leo XIV said, let's AI-proof the church and vibe with Augustine. But surprisingly, amidst the laughter, was respect. Even cynical corners of Reddit's r/atheism were oddly supportive. I'm not religious, but this pope feels human. He talks about mental health. He wears a smartwatch. He quotes Augustine. That's leadership. Within hours, major Catholic creators released deep dives. Father Mike Schmitz. Bishop Barron. Lay influencers. Everyone had a take. He's Augustinian. He's Jesuit trained. He's been to Peru. He speaks 3 languages. This isn't a coincidence. Secular analysts joined too. This pope could rebrand Catholicism for Gen Z. He's a blend of Leo XIV's social doctrine and Pope Francis' mercy, wrapped in digital awareness. YouTube became a classroom. A cathedral. A confession booth where people said, I haven't been to Mass in years, but this Pope makes me want to listen again. In Nigeria, someone tweeted, Pope Leo XIV, we are watching. Africa sees you. In Brazil. Finally, a Pope who understands Latin America's pain. In Poland. He quotes saints and scientists. This is new. In the Philippines. Mahal ka namin, Pope Leo. We love you, Pope Leo. And then. From Gaza. He mentioned us in his first words. He prayed for peace. He sees us. From Ukraine. He asked the world to begin again, with peace. And that's when the comment sections went silent. Not out of boredom. Out of reverence. Of course, not everyone celebrated. Some tried to cancel him for past statements. Others questioned his views on AI, LGBTQ+ issues, or church doctrine. But what shocked most people wasn't how perfect Pope Leo XIV was. It was how calm, clear, and humble he remained. Yes, I've made mistakes. But I'm here now. Not to lead as a king, but to walk as a shepherd. And just like that, he won over even his critics. One post on X went viral with 1.4 million likes. In a time of AI confusion, war, anxiety, and moral fog, the church just elected a pope who gets it. Not flashy. Not fake. Just deeply human. And that's enough to make me believe again. But this was just the beginning. Because what happened after his first 24 hours? When he tweeted his first message. When his AI ethics statement dropped. When the world really started to listen? You'll want to see what happened next. It was 6:42 a.m. Vatican time. While most of the world was still recovering from the shock of the conclave, the new pope did something no pontiff had ever done before. He tweeted, "We must not fear what is new, but we must never forget what is true. Let mercy lead us into the future. Pope Leo XIV." One tweet. 3 lines. And just like that, the internet exploded again. The Pope tweets in poetic code now. This feels like something Augustine would write if he had Wi-Fi. Yo, who's writing this? This hits harder than my therapist. Within 12 minutes, the tweet had been liked over 2.3 million times. Within 3 hours, it had been translated into 56 languages by users across the globe. One teen from Seoul stitched a TikTok with it and said, "This feels like spiritual anime. I'm crying and I don't know why." A priest from South Africa reposted with the caption, "The Holy Spirit has logged in." A new trend was born, #PopeTalk. People weren't just reacting. They were engaging. "Tell me why Pope Leo XIV's first tweet is now my phone wallpaper. He said, 'Mercy is the new movement.' And I felt that." TikTok users began reading the tweet over lo-fi beats, posting soft-spoken reflections, and even turning the words into animated typography reels. It wasn't just content. It was contemplation. Hours after his first tweet, Pope Leo XIV posted to Instagram. A single black and white image. An empty bench in St. Peter's Square. The caption? "For the one who feels forgotten, you are not alone." That post was shared 4.7 million times in 24 hours. Among the comments, "I showed this to my mom. She hasn't prayed in 15 years. She cried. This pope doesn't speak loud. But somehow I feel heard." Some noticed something else. The bench? It was the exact one he sat on before entering the conclave. A symbolic full circle. A quiet start to a loud mission. Reddit users were skeptical. At first. But as the tweet and Instagram posts made waves, even the most hardened forums softened. "I'm not Catholic, but this guy's different. There's a depth to him that doesn't feel PR polished." One user wrote, "I left the church years ago. But today, I walked by a chapel and sat inside for 10 minutes. I think Pope Leo did that." On YouTube, long-form breakdowns began to dominate spiritual and commentary channels. Content creators across belief systems posted what Pope Leo's first message really means. A poet pope? How Leo XIV is using language to heal the internet. Spirituality in 280 characters, Pope Leo's masterclass in minimalist faith. Viewers weren't just watching. They were asking questions. One comment read, "This is the first time I've heard theology and not felt talked down to. Is it weird that a pope is the only public figure making sense right now?" And then, the unexpected happened. Celebrities started to chime in. A-list actor. "I'm not Catholic. But if I was, this is my pope." Pop singer with 90 million followers. "His words feel like prayer and protest at the same time. We need that." A well-known rapper. "The Pope is preaching like he's got bars. Respect." Commentators tried to intellectualize it. "This is strategic branding. He's rebranding the church for the TikTok era. There's a team behind this, for sure." But others pushed back. A Jesuit priest responded, "The most powerful messages don't come from marketing. They come from someone who's spent time in silence." And that's what Pope Leo had done. Years in Peru. Years with the poor. Years with no camera. So when he finally did speak, people listened. And then came the next moment. At a Vatican Tech Summit, Pope Leo delivered a short address. Technology must serve the human person, never replace them. AI must reflect the dignity of the soul it cannot create. That 60-second clip? 120 million views on X. 37 million plays on TikTok. A trending sound on Instagram Reels. Suddenly, every university ethics professor, tech YouTuber, and thought leader was quoting the Pope. I was going to end it all this week. But then this man spoke about mercy like he'd been there. And I decided to wait. Just one more day. I'm still here. Narrator softly. One tweet. One message. One soul, still breathing. Pope Leo XIV didn't just go viral. He became a voice that reminded the world. There is still sacredness in softness. Still power in poetry. Still hope in humanity. It was bound to happen. The tweets, the poetry, the Pope on Instagram, it all felt too good. Too powerful. Too unifying. And in today's world, unity always meets resistance. The first wave was reverence. The second was a storm. Just 3 days after his election, the Vatican posted a message, brief, clear, and yet explosive. The dignity of a person is not based on creed, country, or code. We will build bridges where the world draws borders. It was meant to be a message of unity. But in the age of division, interpretation is everything. Within hours, conservative outlets blasted the post as woke globalism. Progressive critics, ironically, accused the Pope of soft-centering human rights issues. Hashtags like #WokePope, #BridgeBuilder, and #NotMyPontiff trended side by side. The internet's favorite new spiritual leader was now caught in the oldest trap. If you take a stand, you will take fire. Reddit became a war zone. YouTube exploded with counter-commentary. Is Pope Leo XIV too political? The Pope's globalism agenda, what they don't want you to know. A bridge too far? A Catholic woman in Colombia stared into the camera. My father was killed by a cartel. And yet when Pope Leo said begin again, I felt something shift in me. A trans creator stitched the Pope's mercy quote and added, for the first time in my life, a church leader didn't make me feel like trash. That matters. A Jewish rabbi from New York recorded a duet and simply said, I disagree with the Pope on a lot. But this man speaks like he listens. Politicians use the moment as a battlefield. One European leader. The church should focus on the soul, not social policies. A progressive senator. For once, the Vatican is saying something decent. Let's not shout them down. But Pope Leo? He didn't respond. No counter-tweet. No press release. No damage control. Instead, he went quiet. And the silence only made his followers lean in closer. 4 days after the controversy broke, the Vatican posted a clip. No hashtags. No music. Just Pope Leo praying. Lord, remind us that mercy is not weakness. That gentleness is not surrender. That bridges don't erase boundaries. They honor what flows between them. That prayer? 62 million views. 85,000 reaction videos. A spike in search interest for how to pray across Google. In the same week, Pope Leo issued an open letter to global AI developers. Let us not create systems that reflect our flaws more than our hopes. Technology must echo the soul, not override it. The document, just 5 pages, went viral on GitHub, Medium, and Substack. Even Elon Musk retweeted it, writing, unexpected wisdom from the Vatican. AI does need moral roots. Tech leaders at Google and OpenAI mentioned the Pope in keynote speeches. Theological scholars compared the letter to Rerum Novarum for the digital age. Students in Rome, Lagos, Manila, and Boston organized forums titled Pope Leo XIV and the Future of Ethical Tech. TikTokers launched a campaign. Tag someone who needs to hear Pope Leo's AI message. Sound, his voice, layered over synth chords. Even Gen Z, often cynical about religious leadership, started using his quotes in their bios. Let mercy lead. Build bridges, not brands. Technology must echo the soul. Some of the loudest support came from the most unexpected places. A Buddhist monk reposted his prayer. A former Twitch streamer turned activist quoted him live. An R&B singer used his words to open her concert. This is for the restless hearts Pope Leo talked about. Even a gaming YouTuber with 40M subscribers said, "This dude is like the Gandalf of faith. Wise but no cap." In the middle of all the noise, one post slipped through and broke everyone's heart. A 9-year-old from the Philippines wrote, "Dear Pope Leo, my mom said you love poor people and robots. I think that's cool. I want to be kind like you. Can you pray for my brother in the hospital? Love, Joaquin." The Pope reposted the letter with one line. "Yes, Joaquin. I am praying for you and your brother tonight." People didn't just like it. They wept. In less than 2 weeks, Pope Leo XIV had gone viral 3 times. For being elected. For tweeting mercy. For praying through controversy. But beneath it all, wasn't a strategy. Wasn't a brand. It was something we rarely see on the internet. A leader whose words didn't crush or convert, but called us back to our humanity. And social media? It didn't just react. It listened. When the white smoke rose, few expected what followed. Not just a pope, but a movement. Pope Leo XIV hadn't just been elected by the conclave. He was being crowned, by the people online, as the most human spiritual voice of our time. And the internet, so often the place of distraction, had become a sanctuary. It wasn't long before the ripple turned tidal. Across continents, Catholic churches reported something no one expected: an increase in confessions. Packed pews? Prayer groups reborn. A priest in Kenya said, "Young people are coming and saying, 'I saw a video of the Pope, and I want to talk to God again.'" A nun in India, "I've seen more tears of return in the last 2 weeks than in the past 5 years." It wasn't conversion through force. It was return through recognition. Pope Leo wasn't calling them out. He was calling them home. The Vatican released a short, personal video. No robes. No titles. Just the Pope. He looked into the lens and spoke with a quiet voice. "If you've left the church because we failed you, I want you to know God did not. If you've doubted your worth, I want you to know you were never a mistake. And if you've stayed quietly praying, I want to say thank you for your stubborn hope." The video lasted just 92 seconds. But it was shared over 180 million times. Because it wasn't just spiritual. It was surgical. Cutting into wounds many forgot they carried. In a rare show of unity, faith leaders across traditions responded. An imam in Istanbul. "The Pope's courage reminds us all, we are keepers of each other's dignity." A rabbi in Tel Aviv. "He speaks not to dominate the world, but to heal it. That's holy." The Dalai Lama's post. "Compassion is the bridge between faiths. May the Pope's message echo in every heart." Pope Leo XIV wasn't just shifting Catholicism. He was reshaping interfaith respect in the digital age. And then, when the online momentum peaked, Pope Leo did something once unimaginable. He started a podcast. "Welcome to the Quiet Hour. I'm Leo. Just Leo. Let's talk about truth." The format? Short. Raw. No music. No edits. Just one voice, each week, speaking on themes like loneliness, purpose, starting again, forgiving your father, how to sit in silence, what to do when God feels far. Listeners weren't just listening. They were sending in voice notes. Confessing. Laughing. Crying. "The Pope made me feel like I matter." His voice reminded me to breathe. I'm not Catholic. But I needed this. Without traveling anywhere, Pope Leo XIV's presence was everywhere. A mural in Buenos Aires read, "Mercy is the revolution." In Accra, "Let the Pope speak. Let the people heal." In Seoul, "Restless hearts are finally resting." Then came the moment the Vatican didn't plan, but the internet did. A viral trend, the Mercy Challenge. One rule: do something radically kind, anonymously. Then share the story, not the name. A woman paid a stranger's debt. A kid gave his new bike to a homeless man. An ex-con baked bread for the same police station that once arrested him. All tagged. Hashtag Mercy Challenge. Hashtag Let Mercy Lead. Hashtag Inspired by Leo. This wasn't just trend. It was testimony. Even those who didn't believe in God believed in what the Pope awakened. A famous atheist YouTuber posted, "I still don't believe in a deity, but I believe in his kindness. And honestly, that gives me hope." An agnostic philosopher wrote, "Religion without control, faith without fear. That's something I could walk beside." After a week that shook the digital world, Pope Leo gave one final message during a live stream prayer. No announcement. No audience. Just one man in white, speaking into the silence. "You do not have to be perfect to be welcome. You do not have to understand everything to be loved. You do not have to be loud to be heard by God. The world is loud, but God still whispers. Let's learn to listen again." And just like that, he turned, extinguished the candle, and walked out of frame. In a world obsessed with noise, Pope Leo XIV chose depth. In a time of crisis, he chose mercy over marketing. He didn't just break the internet, he baptized it. He didn't just react to social media, he transformed it into a sacred space. If only for a moment. And that moment? It lives on. In millions of hearts. And maybe in yours too.